Alright, so we have everything. Fujifilm just finished the X Summit that I was telling you about in my previous video, and let's talk a little bit about it because there are a few things that, let's say, bothered me or I am kind of confused about. Okay, so first and foremost, this X Summit is meant to give everyone another, view of the lineup that Fujifilm is thinking about it, and we're gonna have new releases and stuff like that, which happened, and most of them are the ones that I mentioned in my previous video. The 23mm f1.4 Mark II. They didn't say anything about the Mark II, but it's definitely the second version. It's called the 23mm f1.4 XF WR LM, and that's a linear motor, exactly what we're talking about. It's the same thing as the 18 to 1.4. Also, the 33mm f1.4, same specs. Also, the same thing, weather resistant as well as linear motor. It's faster autofocus. It's better, well controlled color fringing and chromatic aberrations and all the other aberrations that you can find in a lens. They have new elements inside, I think spherical elements as well as ED elements. So that is good news. And for those of you who are shooting Fujifilm X mount just like myself, I think a 23mm f1.4 is a must. Maybe a 33 if you like 50. I'm starting to love that focal length more and more since I'm shooting with my 50mm, the Nifty 50 on the Z6 II, as well as the 33mm f1.4 that I have on the X-T4, and it films me right now. So I do love that kind of stuff. But because I have that 33-1.4, I won't probably go deep and buy the 33-1.4 from Fujifilm, not yet. Maybe for a let's say comparison in between these two lenses. Now, I said something about the X-T30 Mark II, and apparently they said nothing about it. And I was confused. I didn't know what to think. Maybe the rumors weren't true. To basically find out that when you're searching on B&H, for example, you can find the camera there as a new release, and you can pre-order it. It's $8.99. I'm not sure what are the new specs about it, and I'm not gonna say much about it because for now the camera is not presented or not released by Fujifilm. Literally, they didn't say a word in this X Summit, so I'm not sure what they did. That's for me an improvement and something that comes up as a new item, a new device in the Fujifilm X mount should be properly presented, at least a couple of minutes, and say a few things about what the improvements are. It makes me feel that the improvements are not that big. So I don't know, something went wrong in my opinion. They should have said something about the X-T30 Mark II. They didn't, but the camera is available for pre-order if you want to pre-order it on B&H. Now, because we're talking about the X-Trans sensor, the X-Trans 4 sensor, the new GFX 50S Mark II, we're gonna have that sensor. It's a faster sensor that gives you a little bit more image processing, faster image processing, a little bit more, in-depth image processing, because it's the latest and greatest that Fujifilm released a couple of years ago, I think, with the X-T3. Also, the GFX 50S Mark II is gonna have an IBIS unit inside, which helps you with low light and lower those shutter speeds and be able to not crank the ISO that much and create cleaner images. Unfortunately, the autofocus, they didn't say anything about it, and I believe it's the old autofocus in the 50R. I think it's the 50S as well, but with the X-Trans 4 sensor, so it might be a little bit improved, but definitely not on par with the 100S. That camera, everyone praises for the fact that the autofocus is over there on par with the X-T3. It's a great autofocus if it's that. I didn't test it, but the 50S Mark II, apparently won't have that. They had a few photographers talking about what happened and how they perceive these new lenses, and how they actually work with them for the amount of time that they have them in pre-production. Also, there are a lot of reviews on YouTube if you want to go watch them for big channels that already have the lenses and the cameras and whatever it was released. Nobody apparently has the X-T30, or I didn't see anything yet, so that is a little bit cumbersome, but this is in terms of what happened. Now with the GFX 50S Mark II, it's a new lens, the 35-70 F4.5 to 5.6. We've talked about it, and it was exactly what I said. That lens is a 3.5 to 4.5 in full frame, and it's a great lens, a kit lens. They actually set it up as a kit lens with the GFX 50S Mark II, and it's only gonna be $1,000. The GFX 50S Mark II is gonna be $4,000. They also said that the path is to create more availability for the medium format. They call it large format. I'm not sure what they always said, large format and not medium format. It's like we're getting to another level, but it's still the 4x3, the medium format. It's a mini medium format. It's not even a full medium format, but people are loving it, and the quality and the sharpness and everything is improved because it's a medium format. And a lot of people will jump on this camera because if you're shooting portraits, if you're shooting family stuff or seniors, this is a great camera. You don't need much improvement from the 50R. 50R is still a good camera, and I had it, I loved it, but it wasn't for me. Now the 50S definitely is not. I was hoping to pre-order this camera. I was hoping to have it because I love medium format. I'm still not sure with this autofocus system that it's gonna suit my needs. But for those of you who are thinking about medium format, this is an option. So for $5,000, you're getting a kit, the 50S Mark II with the 35 to 70 f4.5 to 5.6, which is a great stuff. It's a 20 to 55. Something like that, they said, and it's a very wide zoom lens that you can use, especially if you're shooting landscapes when you don't need a very wide aperture. And yeah, that's a great idea. Now these were the announcement that they're gonna be on the market by the end of the month, and you'll be able to pre-order them. And there are gonna be a lot of things in development, a few lenses. One that grabbed my attention was the 55mm f1.7, I think it was, or 51.7. Nonetheless, it's around 45mm in full frame, and a 1.7 lens to have. It's more like a all-around carry prime lens that you can have all the time with you. That's a great thing, and I think it's coming in 2022. Nothing amazing about the X mount other than the lenses that I already told you, and they have in development two more lenses. One, I think it's an 18 to 120 millimeter. We don't know the aperture yet, but it's gonna be an all-around lens, pretty much like the 18 to 135, something to carry with you in long trips and family trips and vacations and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be a great lens. And also the lens that everyone is expecting, the 150 to 600 millimeter in X mount. Again, we don't know the aperture. It's probably gonna be a 5.6 to 6.3. I can only assume that. So yeah, that's great. That's gonna compete with the 200 to 500 that I showed you, and that would be a great lens to try out and see if it works for me and for my needs, depending on the aperture, because it's an APS-C sensor, and that changes the aperture a little bit. And I would love to try that, but I think it's for 2023 or 2022, something like that, not right now. So guys, this is pretty much it, things that I cared about for in this X Summit. Again, X-T30, you can pre-order it right now. It's on B&H, and I think you can pre-order it right now, the X-T30 Mark II. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope I can bring you more info about all these new releases soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give these videos a thumbs up. It's super important with the algorithm and helps me, and you're supporting me through that. And don't forget to stay focused, my friends. That is something very important no matter what you're doing. I will definitely see you in a bit.